camera's fallen like 5 times in this jank ass setup. Like, really? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, not to toot my own horn, but my makeup looks pretty good today. This is good for me. So sweaty. Like, so profusely sweaty. Really? I've been wanting to do Storytime style videos on my channel. I really like them a lot. I know a lot of people who like them too, so here you go. I'm really excited to start doing this. If you guys like them, let me know and maybe I'll tell you some more stories. Because I've got a lot. I don't know if people will actually be interested in them, but I'll tell them if you want me to. So recently I decided to take a trip up to my alma mater. It was very last second. I wasn't even considering it until like a couple of days before. But there were a lot of things going on around the time that I was considering going, so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go. However, I don't have a car, and I was out of a job at the time, so flying wasn't exactly an option for me. So I decided to look into Greyhound. For those who don't know, Greyhound is a bus service that goes a lot of different places in the US. It's been around for quite a while. In fact, my mom and my grandmother both recall riding with Greyhound, and they had pretty good experiences from it. However, when I started looking into other people's experiences with Greyhound, a lot of the reviews were really negative. Missed connections, people not showing up to drive the bus, layovers doubling, buses being super late. Needless to say, it wasn't reassuring at all. However, this was probably going to be my only way, so I bought a ticket. I said, you know what? As long as I got to Oxford by Thursday night, I'd be okay. I can handle it. And I really thought I could handle it. Turns out I was completely wrong. I thought, all of these things can't possibly happen to me. Turns out I was wrong about that too. So here's what happened to me riding with Greyhound. My Greyhound trip was scheduled to go from Memphis to Oxford, Ohio. On the way to Oxford, I was scheduled to make connections in Nashville, Tennessee, and Indianapolis, Indiana. On the return trip, I was scheduled to make connections in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Louisville, Kentucky. I get to the station around 8:30 a.m., which is about an hour before my bus was supposed to depart. They tell you get there like 20 minutes before it's supposed to depart, but I'm no fool. I go get a tag for my checked luggage. They just tell me to wait for my bus route to get called. 9:30 rolls around. I'm still in Memphis. 10 o'clock rolls around.
I'm still in Memphis.
Finally, my bus to Nashville shows up. Turns out this is a service stop for that bus, so everyone who is already on the bus has to get off while they clean, fuel, and fix whatever they need to fix in the bus, which is fine. Whatever, do what you gotta do. However, I'm starting to get really concerned because I know it takes about 3 hours to get to Nashville from Memphis. My layover in Nashville was only supposed to be like 55 minutes, and this bus is already like an hour or so late. My fingers were crossed that my bus in Nashville was going to be late and was going to be leaving late. So I finally hear my boarding call, and next to us is the reboarding group, all of these people that just got off the bus. Since they were already on the bus and all of their stuff is already on the bus, they get to get back on the bus before we even get to board. And at this point, I'm thinking, I better get a seat on this bus. Because I've heard that Greyhound also likes to overbook their buses from all of their reviews online. Luckily, I never encountered that problem on my trip, so thank God for that. Now, we probably waited like an extra 30 minutes for the reboarding group to actually reboard, because one lady from the reboarding group, while they were waiting, decided last second to go to the bathroom while they were waiting to reboard. Little did she know that as she was walking into the bathroom, they start reboarding. So the rest of us are just standing there waiting while this one woman comes back. Finally, we get to board. Driver scans my ticket. I give the attendant my checked luggage. This is not a recurring theme all the time. We'll get to that in a minute. And I had my iPhone charger in hand. I just start like plugging my charger into every single outlet I can find. That same lady that did the little half trot thing that made me wait for like a half hour also decides to tell me that none of the plugs work, because apparently the bus broke down, which was why it was like an hour late, and because of that, none of the outlets work.
Great!
Luckily, I thought ahead and brought 2 portable chargers with me. That reminds me, I'm also thinking about doing a video about like my Greyhound survival kit. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know that as well. So we take off around 11:15-ish. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm probably cutting it close, but I might still make it. I'm being optimistic. The real problem didn't arise until
we hit Nashville traffic.
Which if you've ever driven through Nashville, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That whole time I had the Greyhound bus tracker up on my phone, and I'm just watching as we get closer and closer to my bus's departure time, and I see that the bus is in Nashville, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna make this bus. We arrive at 2:50 p.m. 5 minutes after my bus departs. So I'm not the happiest of campers at this point. But I also kind of mentally prepared myself for this, so I just calmly get in line and try to get my tickets reissued so that I can still get to Oxford. About 20 minutes go by. I'm still standing in line. I'm getting incredibly annoyed. However, it's not the fact that I'm waiting in line. I have no problem waiting in line.
I worked in retail.
My problem is Jim Bob and Billy Bob behind me complaining about how their bus already left with all of their stuff in it. So what happened was they were going to reboard the same bus that I was supposed to be on. So they decided to just step outside and wait till that time to go back in to hear their reboarding call. However, the Nashville bus station doesn't have speakers outside, which is strange, yes. But at the same time, if my bus was late and I wasn't like 100% sure when my reboarding call was supposed to come, I wouldn't even be leaving that terminal. I would be sitting and waiting because I'm not missing my bus.
Oh, this is bullshit. This is such horseshit. They left without us.
There comes a point where complaining isn't going to help you. It's just going to piss off everyone else around you. I just don't understand. Anyway, so after suffering through that for 30 minutes, I finally get to the counter. I tell the woman what's up, and she takes time to figure out all my options. Ultimately, I'm going to have to wait till, get this, 10:30 p.m. That's a 7-hour layover.
7 hours.
So now, my itinerary changes. I'm going from Nashville to Louisville to Cincinnati, getting on a Barron's bus in Cincinnati, and then going to Miami University in Oxford at 7 a.m. Keep 7 a.m. in mind. So I pop a squat, plug in my phone to charge, plug in anything else that I need to charge, put on some wrestling, and just chill. 5:30 p.m. rolls around, I'm getting kind of hungry. So I had the brilliant idea to Postmate. I never Postmated before, and I'll tell you what, this was a very pleasant experience. So I downloaded the app. I tried putting in code DeFranco. What do you know, it still works. And Postmated Chipotle. So got some food. I'm just chilling. I'm getting real bored. And I was probably only about like halfway into my layover at this point. And it's like, I brought stuff with me to do. Like, I just didn't feel like reading, didn't feel like writing. I'm not pulling out my laptop in the middle of downtown Nashville in a bus station. Now, you might be thinking, Mackenzie, why not take this time to take a nap? Because, my dear sweet child, I don't nap. When I need sleep, I go to sleep and I cannot wake up for anything. I could sleep while the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is going on. I'm talking about like in the middle of the damn street. So I just sit there for the next 3 hours, checking the bus tracker like it's my job. And then finally, my bus is called. So the driver tells us to line up. It's not super clear and he doesn't have like any kind of like microphone or PA system or whatever. But also there was another bus that was called at the same time. So like both the lines are just kind of mixed together awkwardly somehow. And the other line goes outside. While we're waiting, there's another worker that comes along and she's telling us we need to go sit down. We're blocking the terminal. This is a fire hazard. Like, she didn't even bother to ask me like what bus I was on, where I was supposed to be. She just told me to go sit down. I decided to go ask the other woman who I think was in charge. She seemed to be in charge. Where's the 1194? And she goes, oh, it's outside. It's boarding right now. Great! That would have been nice to know. Luckily, didn't miss my boarding call, which is great. And my bus leaves on time, which is great. So I get to Louisville around 2:30 a.m. Yes, you heard me right, 2:30 a.m. Great, I'm actually gonna make my connection now because my other bus wasn't supposed to leave until like 5:45. So I had like a couple hour layover. Perfectly fine. So then around 4:30, my bus gets there. It's a little late, but I'll still get to Cincinnati before my bus is supposed to leave. A voice comes over the PA system and it announces that somehow, somewhere, someone didn't show up to drive a bus. And so now we don't have a driver. The next time that we can get a fresh driver to drive our bus from Louisville to Cincinnati is 9:30 a.m. 2.5 hours after my bus to Oxford is supposed to leave Cincinnati. Now I'm pissed. As is everyone else in the terminal. Like, I can't catch a freaking break. And the 7 a.m. bus is literally the only one that day. So if I can't catch this bus, I'm also gonna have to pay $50+ for an Uber from Cincinnati to Oxford.
No.
So I calmly approach the ticket counter again and I asked the woman, I'm like, does Greyhound do any kind of like Lyft or Uber vouchers? Because I'm going to miss the only bus that's going to my destination from Cincinnati. She said, well, we don't do them from this stop, but I'll call ahead Cincinnati and they should be able to get you an Uber from the Cincinnati station to Oxford since it's within like an hour outside of the city. I'm like, great, thank you so much. And I really appreciated that she did that for me. Angle change, my phone just ran out of space. I didn't pretend to be a professional. I don't know what I'm doing. So I go off to the side and try to get what little sleep I can. I pick a spot on the floor, loop my arms through my bags, and just shut my eyes. What felt like 2 seconds later, the woman from the front desk decides to wake me from my whatever I am experiencing at this point, to tell me that she talked to the people at the Cincy station and they can get me an Uber, which again I appreciate, but at the same time let me sleep. So I go like in and out of sleep for the next 2 hours. So 8 o'clock rolls around and the thought pops into my mind, I could have been in Oxford by now. A few more hours pass and people are getting pissed off. Like, I seriously thought there was going to be a riot. And people are also complaining about how, like, they've been waiting 6 hours and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I've been waiting here longer than you have. I should be the most angry out of all of you. Please stop yelling. I'm trying to get some sleep. I feel like the thing I got the most annoyed with was not the layovers or the missed connections or whatever. It was the people complaining around me. And granted, like, I'm complaining now, but I mean telling you this story of all my complaints with Greyhound in hopes to entertain you with my problems. It's like a laughing at my pain. These people are just complaining to complain. Finally, our driver shows up, but at this point everyone's just ready to get out of here. So we just all get in line and get ready to get the hell out of Louisville because I'm so done being in this terminal. So once again, give my reissued ticket to the driver. No problem, thank God. However, there wasn't an attendant this time. Previous stations, I'd been instructed by the attendant to just leave my luggage by the side of the bus and he would grab it. I kept my eye on my luggage and a couple minutes later, I saw the driver start coming back towards the bus and he saw my bag sitting there. Looked at the luggage tag, saw that it wasn't on his route at all, and he sets it off to the side and he goes back into the building. I'm assuming it's to get a new luggage tag because he's probably thinking, you know, someone had to get their tickets reissued and whatever. But at this point, I'm like, no, just put it on the bus and let's get a move on. So I walk myself back out, put my luggage on the bus, walk back onto the bus and watch as the driver comes back. And I think he has a luggage tag in his hand and he's like looking for my bag, comes back on the bus, doesn't even ask if I'm on the bus because my name is on my luggage tag. Anyway, so then we finally leave at around 11:30 a.m. So I get to Cincy around like 1 p.m. The station manager, bless his heart, just looks like he's just had his fill of bullshit that morning. He gets me an Uber to Oxford, which I thanked him profusely. He helps me load my luggage into the Uber, which again was really, really nice of him. And I leave Cincinnati and I get to Oxford around like 2 p.m.-ish, which is great, but it's still like 11 hours past when I was supposed to get there originally. Wow, if that trip wasn't a journey. What's crazy to me is that I had no issues on the way home. I mean, 16 hours worth of layovers, man. So unfortunately, I don't know for sure if I'll ever ride Greyhound again. I was really tired. Like once I actually got to Oxford, I was so tired and I probably spent the next couple of days just catching up on sleep. And not only was I super tired, but I also got really sick. And that also made it really hard to enjoy my trip to the fullest. Yeah, no shit, Mackenzie, you got sick because you slept on a bus terminal floor. I think if I were to do it again, I would take someone with me, make them suffer with me. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, again, remember to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!